Start right now. Howdy y'all, it's your favorite trainer, the belt buckle. Today we're going to get into how to jump properly. We're going to go over a program for a guy or a girl beginner and then progressions. So we're also on Instagram Live. If you guys have any questions, make sure to shoot us a DM. We're on Instagram, Show Up Fitness Internship. Next internship, September 21st. Hands-on learning. That's defining the new entry standard. So jumping, we got focus with the foundation, which is movement competency. In movement competency, we need to look at the proper mechanics, which is a strength coach, and I've worked with long jumpers, triple jumpers, volleyball, basketball. I worked a lot with programming, and nothing that kills me more than this bullshit we see today. You see it all over the place. And it's like one of those things I understand, because I'm not really big into cars. If you were a car person and I called the engine the thingamabobber, yeah, sure, it makes sense to me, but the mechanic, the people who are into cars, they look at you like you're a weirdo. So in the strength community, people who know what they're talking about, when you see people jump like this, all it tells me is that they don't have a background in any type of sport, and they do not know how to program, they don't have a background in strength and conditioning. So it's just like a little jab at that person. Basically, in my mind, being an asshole, I'm going to say that discredits them. They don't know what they're talking about. So let's understand the physiology behind a jump, type 1 recruitment, and also look at some programming. So movement competency is making sure how to do it properly. So we load the arms. 33% of your vertical jump will come from your arms. You load back with extension. A quick connection is made, which is referred to as amortization. Where a normal lift, like a squat, you have eccentric, breathe in, breathe out concentrically. Isometric is any pause. If we do a wall sit, isometric. So, but for a plyometric, you have eccentric, this is slow-mo, eccentric, quick turnover, amortization, concentric. And that middle phase is 0.15 to 0.25 seconds. It's extremely fast. So when I see someone jump like this, and they hold it, and then jump, they're losing that plyometric response, which is a neurophysiological response made in the spinal column. If you want to get a little more nerdy, you can look up a monosynaptic loop, just like a stretch reflex. We want that connection to be fast, amortization. Type 2 recruitment, there's a great question in class asking about, would you want to do it with general population? And I think you should. You remember what were the two terms that we talked about in class today as we age? Sarcopenia. So the basic unit for muscles, sarcomere, skeletal muscle, and we have sarcopenia is the loss of muscle mass due to age. And then dynapenia. Dyna, the prefix, do we have it? This little dynamometer guy, you squeeze this sucker's hurt. Broken. I guess that happens sometimes. No, just joking. No, but dyna, the prefix means power. So as we age, if we don't engage the type 2s, you lose that neurological output. So I talked about in class, like lights. Sarcopenia is losing the lights. Dynapenia is the loss of the power to the lights. Motor unit is a neuron and all the associated muscle fibers. It innervates. So type 2 muscle fibers are called what? Fast twitch. And where would they be on this hypothetical size principle chart? Here. So we can engage these powerful ones 3 ways. Heavy, 1 to 10 reps. Not heavy like I give my client a 20-pound dumbbell, 9, 10, that was heavy. No, it's 10th rep. Oh shit, I might not make this. You make some weird sounds, you barely get it. That's one way to recruit them. Maximum velocity. So when the weight is light and you move it quickly. And then last but not least is volitional fatigue. So those are the 3 ways that we can engage our type 2 muscle fibers. And when we jump, we're going to be engaging those type 2 muscle fibers. But when it comes to a program, it wouldn't be appropriate for someone who doesn't have that foundation, that movement competency, a strong midsection, an understanding of the proper mechanics to start jumping as high as they can. Because you're going to see this. Knees buckle in, it's not optimal hip and knee and ankle mechanics. So when we start with a new person, start by implementing jumps, but don't go maximally. So black would be a program for a beginner who's a guy. Red would be a program for a beginner who's a girl. Very similar. The only small things would be isolation work. For a girl, what do you think we're going to isolate? Yeah, for the whole body, yeah. More glutes, like single leg stuff. Guys, what do you think we're going to do? Maybe chest or arms. Yeah, I agree. So jumps, how they would look like for a beginner. Pause, jump. I work on the mechanic. Try to become lighter. But you get a lot of this. Loud sound, so just teach them. I tell them to clear a penny. I don't want you jumping that high. I don't care if you're morbidly obese. That's perfectly safe. We're teaching the mechanics. Load back, come up. Nothing crazy. 5 to 8 reps, then you'd go into your next core pattern. Bench press for a dude, hip thrust for a girl. And then we go into an accessory ab exercise. Some bike crunches, some whatever you want to do for your abs. You rest 2 to 3 minutes. Come back to your jumps, repeat for 3 rounds. 3 sets, jumps 5 to 8, hips, bench press 10 to 15, hip thrust 10 to 15, each set progressively overload. For beginners, we don't need to overload, or even moderate, you don't want to overload a jump. Do that for 3 rounds, and you get into the rest of your program, another core pattern, so chin-ups or a goblet squat for a girl, chin-ups or a goblet squat, chest fly would be for a dude, crunches for a girl. Landmine press, farmer's carry would be more for a dude. RDLs would be for a girl. More the hinge pattern, isolate your hamstrings, your erectors, and your glutes. That's what we talked about today in class. The main extensor for glutes are what? Sorry, the main extensor for the femur is what? Glutes, good. That's your agonist. Synergist will be your hamstrings, also your adductor. When you do like an RDL, since it's one joint, agonist, synergist, adductor synergist, erector synergist. And then come up with some challenge at the end. After a month, then we can progress into jumping more explosively. So the progressions would be start with, I'm going to grab this real quick. A low box. This is 12 inches. Listen to the sound. It's loud. It's a lot of force into the knees versus a lot softer. So I want it to be nice, and you want to catch yourself coming down into it. You want to look at all views. Most common thing I see is one leg, you get valgus. So just cue them, film them. All right, your right leg's coming in a little bit. Be mindful of it. How many reps are we doing? This is after a month of just focusing on the proper form. This is month 2. How many reps do you think we're doing? 5 to 10, good. Type 2 recruitment. We recruit our type 2 muscle fibers by going fast, heavy, explosive. But remember, they fatigue quickly. So should we rest a long period or a short period? Long, minimum 3 minutes. And this is what's so hard, is because you influencers out there, you're doing this shit for 45 seconds and it sucks ass. So when you're done, you're like, oh, it's so hard. And you do 5 of these and you're like, that's not that hard. So I should go back to the other way because that's better. Harder doesn't always mean better, especially when it comes to science. You can train smarter and harder. So month 2, I'm doing 3 sets of 6 to 8, maybe 10. Pretty much the same thing. I'll do my jump first into a hip thrust, but I'm going heavier to hip thrust, and then you do your ab stuff. And then if they're liking it, you could do a progression from here. Would be vertical jumps. Just load up. Broad jumps. Go for distance this way. And then you can go unilateral. So you jump and you catch one leg. And then the progression would be a step down. They call these depth jumps. Get your belt buckle and just step down. Big difference between what people do is jump off. I don't want you to jump off. I want you to step down and then immediately jump as high as you can. And you can do transitional, work in space a little differently. So those would be your progressions. Ground contacts, usually for beginners. We have 10, 3, barely 30, 40, 50, 60 for month 2. I don't like going much above 80 to 100. So if you do a set of 10, that's 10 ground contacts. So doing like depth jumps for 4 rounds of 10. And if you got an athlete who want to improve their jumping, you could do like the broad jumps or the vertical jumps for another 4 by 6 or 8. It just depends on set. Specific adaptation to pose the band. So now, you guys are going to do it. Now before we show you doing your jumps, you guys have any questions on implementing proper jumping? Long rest periods, type 2 recruitment. It's great for everyone to focus on the mechanics, progressively overload. Maybe later you can incorporate some weighted stuff. Up to you. Let's check you guys out. Put the mask on, socially distance. Can't see my pretty mug anymore. All right, let's go over here. I'll get this guy. Yeah? If we have any questions. All right, let's see how we're jumping.
Looks normal.
Yeah. So great, now you guys that are watching, I want you to look at guy on the right versus girl in the middle. Look at his hand position, he's kind of doing this half-assed. I want more, like see how she's doing it? She's doing this with intent. Use the arms to try to get up and touch something, really good. Get up there higher. That's it right there, beautiful, good job. Good. Now when you start doing these repetitively, what you're going to see is a little bit of maybe that knee coming in. So you just want to be mindful. Keep that left knee out. Keep that right knee out. You just want to coach them through that. Really good. Good. Nice job. So let's pretend like we rested for 3 minutes. So we're going to go through this faster, get you guys a little cardio. But what we would do next is like a double. So rest for 10, 15 seconds, and then do it again for 3 to 5 rounds. That's a progression. So let's see how we do with those. Right knee. Keep that right knee. Good. That's it. Good job. So Scott, we got to work on that one.
I didn't play basketball.
Now let's do one more where we look at unilateral. So you do bilateral to unilateral.
Bilateral to unilateral?
Yeah. Good.
And just on one?
No, you jump bilaterally into a unilateral.
Oh.
Good. Nice. All right, so we got one question I think will be good to address. Someone asking about what type of weights would you want to use if you wanted to load these? Think of weighted jumps, very similar to, that's great, no, think of weighted jumps similar to banded bench press. Do you think that's for a beginner? No, that shit shouldn't be implemented for someone who's been at least 3, 6, 9 months way down there. So focus on just height and landing, but don't go for height as in boxes up to here. That's stupid. Another way I can tell a strength coach or a trainer is an idiot is by how high they're going with these. If we're stacking them, that's all Instagram. There's not any type of application from a scientific method where that would have application to an athlete. Volleyball player, basketball player, football, long jump, none of that stuff.
So you say that's a fluff?
All fluff. Do it, it's fine, but recognize that. I set a PR, I jumped this freaking high, almost died. Don't do this at home because it's stupid. But again, we do stupid shit all the time. I'm number one at that. Just recognize if you post something, just give everyone your due diligence and say, this is stupid, it's strictly for Instagram. Don't do this at home. The principles are going to be A, B, C, and D. So someone was asking about weighted. You could start here with some dumbbells and go drop. Do you think I'm going to use really, really heavy weight? No, because it compromises movement competency. So if you have 50-pound dumbbells, you're going to come down, you're going to be leaning over it more, trying to get up, you're going to have more valgus. It disrupts the form. So when it comes to weight, maybe 5, 10, 15, I don't want it to compromise the form. Question?
The question I have is, versus doing the dumbbell jump, what if you had a weighted vest versus the dumbbell? Would you find that the weighted
True, yeah, you could. It could be. I like the fact when we looked at post-activation potentation and the ability to drop the weight loads the nervous system and it's going to allow for a better neural adaptation. So I prefer to see something where you can drop off. Can you do heavier steps? Sure you could. You could do heavier things, but always just ask why. Are we doing it for show? Why does your client want to jump higher? Because they're a volleyball player and they need to be able to get up there. We did a volleyball program. You can look at how we implemented this. So why are we going right into weighted jumps after the first month? You can just like the bench press. If you want to get better at bench press, do more bench press. We don't need to get all flashy. Maybe you want to do a jump up to a jump over. That's fine. You can play around with the planes of motion, auditory, vocal cueing. So step off, say right or left, okay? So then you have some type of cue while you're in air, and maybe you do jump, jump. Bounds for someone who needs to go long jumper, triple jumper. We do more single leg this stuff. Volleyball players generally are going to be bilateral, same with basketball players, but it's good to incorporate them both. If you guys have any questions or you want to become a trainer, show up, San Diego, Los Angeles, now Santa Monica, soon somewhere else. Have a great day.